When something goes to zero, it's bad news for everyone. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. Before we get started in today's video, if you're one of my patrons, or of course if you are on my YouTube membership member, please stick around to the post credits after the film today. We'll go over some interesting things that I think might be important to you. Now, let's get on to today's video. Everything going to zero. Things are going down, and yeah, the markets don't look good. I gotta be honest. You got stocks across the board going down, and of course, it's going to relate back somewhere, in some way, to Magic the Gathering. When things go to zero, when things really drop hard, a lot of asset classes lost. You have a lot of value lost in the cards that you may have paid top dollar for. I just want to remind people, it is not a loss unless you have to sell. Cards, stocks, things bounce back. They go in phases and time frames. I would not sell if you don't have to sell. For those who emailed, I wouldn't do it. Now, that said, everything going to zero usually is a very bad thing. If it really drops hard, it can show a breaking apart of the market entirely in a certain area, in a certain asset class. If the game dropped rock bottom and sales just stopped, yeah, the game would die. There'd be no more sets coming out. It'd all be fan created and things would go nuts, guys. And that's not what's happening. But it is a readjustment in pricing. And if you're one of those people who is looking for deals, you've got them. You've got them. You might want to stick around at the end of the video too. If you want to see some good deals, stick around at the end of the video. I better pull down the sheet, make sure I have it handy for me at the end so I can go over some of this stuff. But it's not easy to accept those losses at the time. Paying $20 for a card and seeing it's only worth $5. Paying $100 and seeing it's worth $15 now. Buy list is $7.50. It's a scary time. But just like the good times, the bad times pass too. And things will come around if you can hang on long enough. Now, for those of you who are here on a Sunday, this is a Hot 10 video. We are going over the Hot 10. And I'm going to go over some of these cards today from number 10 to number 1. But I'll be taking a slightly different tone with some of these cards because I want to relate some of this information to you in a very pointed way to prove the point of why you should be collecting reserve list cards over other asset classes, over other modern or commander style cards, which will go through reprint after reprint. Wizards is not going to touch the reserve list ever. They're never going to get there. They've seen this backlash and it's done. They got nothing else to say, and if they did, it would be it'd be hilarious. I would laugh all the way, but it would be bad. If they thought the 30th anniversary was bad, it would be bad. Can't even keep their word on stuff like that, right? Price sensitive players, what can you say? So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this. I want to get to these cards, show you things, because things are turning and not in the way you expect. The first card I want to share with everyone today is Mox Diamond from Stronghold at number 10 with 18 sales this week. The average price is $618.41 for a near mint copy. But not a single near mint copy sold this week, and only one last week, and it was on the list last week. What's happening is something very interesting. What people don't recognize, and I can see it in the data, I can see it in the financial side of things when I'm looking at these cards and looking at the sales breakdowns, these are all moderate to heavily played copies of Mox Diamond being sold. They're being sold for between $350 and $400 US, which means around $500 here in Canada. Barring some trade or some cash and some Facebook deals, these aren't collectors going after these cards. These are commander players. These are commander players who know this card's not going to zero and they're seeking it out. They're going after this card, which is why I'm telling people to pay attention to it. This is not the normal buying experiences I've seen over all my time here on YouTube. This isn't normal. The reserve list is not going to zero. What's happening is, it looks like with the market being so bad, those with the means or who have saved up that rainy day fund are finally cashing in their chips and getting their hands on cards they've always wanted. Now, here's Savannah at number 9, revised edition, trending sideways, market price $346.90 US, but you can get a heavily played and moderately played copies for $200 to $220 US. And remember, guys, It's a dual land. After you own it, you never have to sell it. You just get to hold it forever for any deck you ever build, in this case that has white and green. I wonder who's buying all these moderately played copies and heavily played copies and some damaged copies for the 170. I wonder who's doing that. Because it's not a collector, not an investor. They will usually go for lightly played so they can maximize value somewhere down the road. And yes, I guess it could be somebody buying those, but I doubt it. I think, again, we are seeing smart Commander players getting in there and getting their chips cashed to get some great cards, to get some value. Bang for the buck. And remember, guys, if you're buying any of these cards, if you see something you like and you're buying anything on TCG Player, please remember to use my affiliate link. It's found in the description of every video I put out. If you click on my TCG Player link, it takes you right there for your shopping. And then I get a kickback on the channel of 3.5% of anything you buy. So it really does help me get some cards. And if you want to see what I've been buying, stick around to the end of the video and I'll share that with you. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Number 8, Fast Bond. Now, this card's been as high as $80. The market price is $16.16. And this thing is down tons. And all of a sudden it pops up with 27 sales, all within a 7-day span. The thing's not even allowed in most formats. Who's picking up all these moderately played copies? Who's going after that for Fast Bond? That is either somebody securing a small position in a card they know has been high before, or it's players who are playing casual and want some copies. Take your pick, but either way, for a game that's going to zero, for a card that's banned in most formats, who's buying it and why? These are the little market indicators you need to pay attention to because these sales are far higher than they should have been compared to the last couple of weeks. Now let's go ahead and take a look at number 7. Number 7 is Volroth Stronghold. I said a few weeks ago, if this thing hits 90 or below, we are going to see players taking advantage of that price. And here we are at $90.90, and it has 32 sales. That's basically $3,200 Canadian in 1 week on this card from Stronghold. Remember, a card like this is invaluable. It doesn't have any drawbacks compared to any new lands we see nowadays. And its availability is quite limited because it's Stronghold, which has a smaller print run. And it's still hard to get. I mean, guys, this one, by the way, mostly light played sales. So I don't think this was just collectors, investors, but at this price point, anybody who's playing Commander can probably afford it anyway. So it's just one of those cards I want to mention, and I was surprised with the sales being so high. It made the list. Now, barely beating it out is Fungal Bloom, and that's from Fallen Empires with 33 sales. This card's only $3 now, but it only got as high as $5. It was never a very expensive card. What I find interesting is the amount of sales and a lot of group sales of 4, 5, 8 copies at a time. It says 2 green, it's an enchantment, Fungal Bloom, put a spore counter on a target fungus. So it's great for like sporling decks and stuff back in the days from Fallen Empires. But putting this thing with Elvish Farmer and connecting some cards together, we don't know if there'll be new funguses. We don't know what cards like this will do 5 years from now. But it's on the reserve list and it's not getting reprinted. So, I guess somebody said it $2 or $1 for a moderately played copy. I guess it was worth it for some people. Because again, it wasn't near mint once. There were some, but it's not near mint being bought out. Guys, this is like a mini buyout of Fungal Bloom again. Something strange is going on there. Number 5, Sliver Queen. 43 sales. That's right, the Yellow Brick Road just told you the Sliver Queen jumped up to 43 sales, even though it's trending downward. You can find this thing locally. I think here in Toronto it's like $230. Get 10% off. You're talking like $210, $215 for a lightly played guys. This is weird. There's some shenanigans going on. People are starting to notice this, and they're grabbing it. I mean, it's Sliver Queen. And we've talked about for weeks and weeks as the price was going down, and we talked about this. I was going to say I warned people, but I did mention it in Card Watch videos. This stuff is very, very fascinating to now see a slight turn in the market in a way we didn't expect. Going to zero, you-know-what. Yeah. Number 4. And we have Fork. 43 sales. January 14th to 21st. Now, the only reason I'm adding Fork here at number 4 instead of number 5 is there was additional sales that happened in Unlimited, Beta, and Alpha. I didn't add them into the actual count, but they were there, so I wanted to mention that in the video. Market price is $41, but you can find moderately played ones for like $17 on TCG Player. And again, those are the ones being bought. Fork is one of those cards. Remember, any one sorcery or instant spell is duplicated. Treat Fork as an exact copy. You can counter somebody's counterspell. It is a multi-functional card that everyone should own 4 copies of. Everybody who can get their hands on it should buy 4 copies so you never have to buy it again. And why do I tell you to buy it now? Because look at the price. Spend 60. You can't even get Shieldred for $60, and that's a card that's going to be reprinted 50 times. But you can go ahead and buy 4 Forks. You can buy 4. Reserve list card, never coming back around. I don't know, man. For a game that's supposedly going to 0 and everything's going harsh out there, it doesn't look like it. Number 3, Brain Geyser. 58 copies. We talked about this last week. Copies were going for like $9, $10. This is just wow. 58 copies, and again, moderate to heavily played. These are not near mint copies being picked up, and they're being bought for $7, $8, and $9. They're not going for the market price of $22.66. They are being bought underneath the radar, and they're being bought at a lot less. And just as an additional side note, a whole bunch of unlimited ones got sold too, just so you know. Just so we're keeping tabs on thing. A card that says target player draws, not an opponent, not you, target player. Pick your poison and make them pay by drawing as many cards as you possibly can. It can be a blast. Yes, it's an old school sorcery, but it definitely gets the job done. Let's check out number 2 on the Yellow Brick Road, and that's going to be Griffin Canyon. 81 sales. And if people haven't been paying attention, don't forget, when we had some of these recent sets come out, they gave us brand new Griffins, right? I think it was Dominaria United, right? We had new Griffins come out. Griffin Canyon is a land from Visions that says add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. So no, it's not going to give you a mana color, but it can go in a deck that has Griffins. Untap target Griffin. That Griffin gets +1/+1 till end of turn. You can use it to block creatures. You can use it to pump things up. You can do disgusting things with this card, and people were buying it for $3. Not the $8.70. That'd be for a near mint copy. But the ones going for moderate played were like $2.20. And that's what people were buying. And they bought, and they bought, and they bought. This is a buyout, and most people won't even know it's happening. Only the people who watch this channel, because nobody else seems to be talking about this. I find that fascinating. Going to 0. That's right, where everything's being lost in the game. And of course, number 1 is leeches. Now, with Phyrexia, all will be one. We talked about leeches coming back up. We mentioned it on the channel a couple times, saying you should be buying leeches while it's $3. Get it while it's $3. Well, now it's back up to 10. Because that's what happens. Players buy always in hindsight, never at the right time. It's It's hard to time the market. But there are times when you see things at a certain price, you know it's probably pretty low, and you think, oh, it's going to drop another $1. No, they go up and down. And when I see this stuff, it just goes like, come on! How could you miss out on this? But here's the thing. Look at the dark cards. They'll be in my card watch video next week. Look at Frankenstein's Monster, Nameless Race, things that have been bought out before. Look at those prices now. You'll see some of the cards. You'll see where my brain's going. Eventually things turn. They don't go to 0 all the way, and they don't always stay ugly. The bad days turn to good. The good days turn to bad. That's the cycle of life. That's how things go. A moment of happiness and a moment of pain. This is interesting to see these types of sales on the market this week. Pay attention, guys. Things could be turning. Don't know when. But I'm paying very close attention, and so should you. Hey guys, if you're one of my fantastic patrons, I hope you stick around to the end of the video, because of course we're going to talk about the giveaway wheel in the post credits, which of course my patrons and YouTube membership members know about, because your name goes on that wheel for supporting the channel. Check it out. Hi guys, welcome back to the end of the video. Thanks for being here. I know I actually told you guys to be here, and I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you made it to the end. You can put in the credits alpha. It's funny, not many people, it's less than 1% now, make it to the end of the videos, by the way. Less than 1%. So anyone who's paying attention to the 20K box, which looks like we'll probably never get there at this point, but you never know. It's been a rough week. That's all I can tell you. So some things to talk about. That's why we're here. We had I had a thought when I saw how the prices were going. And I started humming and hawing. And although we're still going to do the reserve list giveaway stuff, every month my patrons and my YouTube membership members' names go on a wheel. We spin that wheel. And if you're in my Patreon, your name goes up based on how many times your value is in. So if you're a $5 patron, your name goes on 5 times. If you're a $2 patron, it goes on 2 times. A $1 patron is 1 time. And your name goes on this wheel and we spin it. But I'm going to be adding to the prize pool. That's what we're talking about today. We're adding to the prize pool because I had a little extra left over from what you guys give to the channel, so I bought some more. Now, with everyone from the last 3 months of TCG Player, so for those who have been donating to the channel by buying on TCG Player with my affiliate link, I have managed to buy, that's right, I picked up my Singing Tree. So thank you very much, everyone, for helping me buy this, because this came all from people. It's moderately played, but it came from all you guys who have been using the TCG affiliate link. I managed to buy this, okay? I only had to pitch in like 40 bucks of my own money, plus TCG Player, so that's awesome. It'll be going inside my Arabian Nights collection. Thank you so much. But let's talk about something else here. I'll be adding each week. There will be soon, I won't know exactly when it's starting because I'm waiting for some other stuff to come in, but we'll be having another draw. Okay, there'll be a second draw, and everyone's names gets included. So even if you win the reserve list draw, your name goes into the second draw as well. There'll be a second draw on the last Sunday of every month, and I'll hopefully do it this month if everything comes in time. And we are talking old school cards. So with the prices the way they are, I've been managing to pick up things from Revised, as well as things from like Alpha, and of course Unlimited and Beta. And although I've got a couple for myself, there'll be more going into the bin here. How many cards I can give away will depend on how each month we work out on the financial side of things. But if it works out well, there could be as many as 5 cards. Could be 20 cards. It could be 15. Actually, no more than 15. We'll keep it no more than 15 like a booster pack. But I'll try to keep it no lower than 1 card. Okay? And that card, of course, will get mailed out to you. But right now I was buying things like Tranquilities. All near mint, by the way. A few other cards are in there. Unlimited Tsunamis I was picking up because everyone loves to have all their islands destroyed in play. A lot of fun. And then, of course, even like alpha cards like Tranquility. So there'll be a randomized amount of cards put in from old school stuff. Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, the Dark, Legends. And I'll try to pool these cards together. Nothing further than Revised, though. So it'll be Revised or older. Okay, guys? And I thought that'd be a nice way to kind of add to our prize pool since there's a little bit more money. Because as you guys know, I only need enough money to cover all the bills and lights. If there's something left over, it should go back to the people who support me, and that is you guys. So this is another way of me saying thank you to everyone who supports this channel. And that's my YouTube membership member. And of course, to the guys on my Patreon. You're all amazing. I want to thank you for that support you show me by giving it back, if that makes sense. You guys know. I know a lot of you guys say keep it, but that's not how I work. It's not like that. So I'll be picking up more cards as the prices allow and as money comes in. So if I have a little bit left over each month after paying everything, then I will go ahead and add to the prize pool. Because I think that's just a great way of doing it. And then we'll have another draw going, okay? And that'll be like 2 draws a month. They'll probably still happen on the last Sunday of every month because as you order things, it can take a long time for stuff to come in, okay? So thanks again for being here, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Go ahead and you put down alpha in the comment section so I know you saw this video. Sometimes it's important. Most people don't know why I ask certain things, but there's always a reason. I'm a tricky guy that way. I like surprises. And this, I hope, is a nice surprise for all of you. And if you're not one of my patrons, and if you're not one of my YouTube membership members, you can become one if you can find a slot. There's not a lot out there, but there are some Patreon slots in the $1 and stuff like that. 1 or 2 are usually available at any given time. But no, I will not be opening up the Patreon to new slots. I don't do that. You guys know we've kind of locked it in place for a long time now. Okay? Thanks again for being here. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you guys, of course, on the live stream tonight. All right. Have a great one. Thanks for being here. You guys are awesome.